What up? What up? Welcome back.
Welcome back. The YouTube only affair tonight. You guys
Yes.
know we're normally pinging back and forth and looking all over, but our attention is fully here. This is
So before we get into the meat of things, I like to throw a little bit of the branding up. So let's go ahead and do that because your girl keep forgetting. So I'm gonna make sure I do that today.
awesome.
Okay, we're officially all in one place.
Yes, we are. Hello.
Praise God, amen.
Hello, friends. We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Kandron, and that's Dehjai. You've never been here before. Monday nights, we are live. We do reality recap, and we're here to do just that tonight.
Yes, we are.
Have you any pop culture to begin the conversation?
Girl, before we slide into the pop culture, just because you are doing dry January does not mean that I am doing dry January.
What are you having for?
So I decided to do a sidecar, a little homemade sidecar. So I'm using
What's a sidecar?
Martell cognac. It's actually pretty good. And you know what? When I bought that bottle, I'm gonna be like full transparency. I was like, I wonder if Martell mama was drinking that when she could see Martell. I am just saying because it is spelled just like his name. Okay, and I'm sure that it's a spirit that's been around for a long time.
Okay.
Listen, I had a friend whose name was Tangeray, but that's not how we pronounced it.
Cool.
Just
I am not partaking. I'm just having water. Literally, I just ate dinner, so I'm just here with my water, doing the best I can. I hope I don't have nothing in my teeth. Please let me know if I do, but go ahead.
All right, well, let's get to it. This damn eye's gonna get on my nerves. All right, so pop culture this week. I'm gonna tell you something before we even slide into the slides itself. It was a struggle. I really thought about just being like, you know what, I don't have shit for pop culture tonight because
that would have been fine.
I didn't care about talking about none of this stuff, but I forgot that I had already sent some things from last week.
Okay, cool.
So the anchors from ABC's GMA3, TJ and Amy, have decided to lawyer up. According to the Shade Room and TMZ, because I have notes this time, I'm going to get this shit wrong. Basically, they are citing that race might be a factor, and they're questioning ABC if there was ever any morality clause usage to fire or discipline to white consenting adults in previous experiences on the show or on the network. So we'll see how that plays out. I was just like, dang. I mean, because at this point they've only taken they took the both of them off, but from what I have been hearing, it sounds like TJ was the one getting fired because he was doing some other canoodling with other people. So like, I don't know why Amy would jump on this bandwagon because it doesn't sound like she was in trouble.
I was actually curious about this with the morality clause, because generally with morality clauses, it's like you can't have, and this is probably why TJ got fired and Amy didn't, or TJ is under further discipline and Amy is not, is because of as long as there's not a power disparity, and because they were co-anchors, I think that's what's saving them. Or saving Amy anyway. But also, I'm not sure what their morality clause says about, I mean, again, they can be very broad if you allow them to be. So it could have something to do with them both, having marriages, being in marriages, both having spouses.
Well, I don't know, because like the article on TMZ, because I tried to search a little bit further, but I was like, child, I don't really care about this. They're more so spinning it towards a race issue because they're focusing on the fact that the morality clause, and they specifically, it says morals and conduct clause, has it ever been used to fire or discipline two white consenting adults? So I don't know.
I mean, I get the play. Yeah. I get what they're doing. I don't know. I think TJ is going to have a hard time with that argument for the simple reason that he was canoodling with people who he wasn't the boss of them, but they're producers on his show.
They
So
were
there's
like
a
subordinates.
yeah. Or
Mm-hmm.
there's a disparity in the levels. So I think that he's gonna have a harder time with that, but we'll see. TBD.
Well, we're gonna find out. If I am so inclined to report on this again, which I might, since I've been talking about it, I'll bring it back and let y'all know.
When I say I couldn't care absolutely less about these people, there is not one bone of my body that cares about these people, but it's in the news.
I know, but it's like pop culture stuff, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway,
we'll talk about it.
So new couples alert, and I put up here, and the real MVP is everybody shouting out Lori Harvey.
Marjorie. Marjorie is the real MVP.
Why did I see? I saw like a meme it was like the Steve Harvey book, and it had Marjorie and Lori on it, and it said, "Think like me, act
mama.
like mama." I was like, okay. All right, then. But yeah, she's out here canoodling and possibly dating Damson Idris. So we'll see. He's good looking. Two beautiful black people. Do your thing, sis.
Beautiful beautiful black people being young and beautiful and black. I love it.
Young, rich, and famous.
Yes. Actually young. Not like the Africans who were not young.
No, we're not shouting out that. I mean, no shade, but that's what we're talking about.
The show, the Netflix show. Not in general. We're talking about the Netflix show. Okay, go ahead.
The next thing is going to lead us into our actual shows of the night.
Yes.
So the good sis Karen came right onto Instagram immediately with her iOS press release. Shout out to the read, with her receipts as to the conversation that was had between she and Sharice when her father passed. Sharice says she said on the show last night that Karen basically sent her a one-line text saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss," whereas this is actually what she sent. So let me hit play again so that way you guys can see it. There you go.
She just gives her the best, and she, says condolences and
my girl,
your person is at rest, your dad's at rest now,
It was a beautiful
it was
statement.
Really a lovely message. Like it was a very lovely message. Where can I send flowers, or in lieu of flowers, is there a charity that I can send some donation to? So I thought it was a very classy message.
Agreed.
So
I think that's the way you should do it when you're trying to like be respectful, and like even if you're not in relationship with someone but you still want to like send your condolences. I think that Karen did it the way that it needed to be done.
Yeah.
All that extra tomfoolery. It's just for the show. But the other thing, so the pieces that you missed, since we're gonna slide right into the shows.
Yeah.
We right here. So apparently Sharice was the one that put the group together, and that's how they got a show. And it was because of Karen's affiliation to Sharice that they all became a friend group. It's not obviously not with anything on reality shows. Are they naturally like a friend group going in? Sometimes they are, but this was not the case. They were put together seemingly by Sharice, who has been ousted off the show. How many years she been gone since she came back? Trying to work her way back.
2 or 3.
I feel like it's been more than that. Because I want to say she left when Monique came on. Like she did the season with Monique, and then after that she was gone.
Yeah, I don't remember how many seasons. This is like 9, maybe 8 or 9.
So yeah, girl.
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised by that, because I think Robin and Giselle have both said in the past that Sharice was the person who kind of put their group together in one way or the other. And Robin has taken to calling her the real Grand Dame. And has said that in interviews.
She said that last night too.
And even on podcasts where she has said like, Sharice is actually the Grand Dame because she put everything together.
I'm like, what to do? But Sharice she's not unlikable, but she's not likable either.
And I think the issue with Sharice is that she was like, her personality was being married and having a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So when in the first or the second season she was on, like she got the divorce, she had to redo her life. It was clear her husband wasn't interested in really contributing to that life or paying out for that life. So, she tried to hold on, but it seemed like her interest was just spending money. And like there are other people in other franchises or other reality shows where it's like if you didn't have money, you wouldn't have anything. You wouldn't be interesting at all. So
she's just out here being rich. Like that's it. That's your identity. Good for you, girl. But like, I don't know. I'm here for like the actual beef that is being had between her and Karen, but at the same token, so let's cut to the chase. So last night we pick up the show where Karen and Charisse are having it out. You saw the previous week, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're back in the swing of things and they're going back and forth and they're yelling and cussing and fussing and carrying on. And it's like, I don't know how we got to the point where Karen was talking about that Charisse was basically disrespecting her mother because that's not what happened.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just like, what? Wait, what? Where did that come from? Okay, girl.
Like, girl, what? So whatever. That's where we left off last week, and then this week they picked it right back up. And so the bottom line is Karen just don't fool with her. And if you don't fool with her, then fine. Like that's all that needs to be said. There doesn't need to be a conversation about it. We're not finna make up. Karen does not seem like the type that's gonna want to, mend fences with someone they genuinely just don't like. And why she doesn't like Charisse is nobody's business because Charisse ain't even a cast member on this show. She's a friend of a friend of a friend at this point. While she may have been once a cast member, she no longer is. It seems as though she's pulling a charade though, where they're trying to work her back into the storylines because last night she got her own confessional.
Yeah. It seems like they're trying to work her in, definitely work her into the situation. She is definitely giving big charade energy. I hope that she has at least some sort of something to sell us or profit off of this show because her personality is not enough.
No, I mean, it's giving, I like champagne and I want my own bathroom.
and you know what? I stand for like just a rich, snobby personality type. I don't mind that at all, but Charisse just doesn't sell it well. It just doesn't land.
And the other thing for me is like Charisse is incredibly like from what I like, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk. I don't really remember her I remember her, but I don't remember anything significant. So I understand why she's no longer a part of this ensemble cast.
Yeah. I remember
you know what I mean?
The thing I remember most about her is the champagne room.
The champagne room.
Yeah.
What happened?
Remember in her house, she made a big deal about having a champagne room. But I think this was right when she was moving. I don't know if it was in her new house or I think maybe it was the first house after she left her marital home. She had made this big deal and had like a grand opening for her champagne room. You remember this?
Girl, when I tell you I don't remember Charisse, I do not. I remember her being a part of the show, but like you said, she don't have nothing to like give us. It's no meat.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't remember her.
She gives big bothered energy, and y'all know if you've been here before, you know I don't like a bothered housewife. I like a very let it roll off your back, a very Giselle energy about the whole entire situation, and she is very bothered. And I think she's bothered because of Karen and the whole, she feels like she's entitled to be on the show because she put the cast together. And so I feel like she thinks that Karen is wrongfully being called the Grand Dame, but Karen is a good dime. She is funny.
Hello. And last night, her confessionals, friend, when you finally watched the show, her confessionals, I feel like Karen is just like, fuck it, I'm going to just let loose.
I love it.
Anything.
I love it. She has been saying anything in the confessionals this year. She's been eating the girls up, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love
it. Her coming for the Dixons, well, Robin specifically last week, and she did it this week too. And I was just like, girl, okay, so Kandron has not watched the show, so I'm gonna run down my list because your girl made notes. Can y'all believe it?
This episode. Go ahead.
So to take a page out of Kandron's book, I hate when people I don't know that I hate this per se, but I hate when people make me like be on their team when normally I would not be on their team.
Don't you hate it? It's like, it just pisses me off. Like, you, God damn it, I actually got to be on your side now. Because this other
I'm really trying to hide these fingers because, pray the Lord, it looked like I done been in a fight. These nails look terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, mine too.
So I'm gonna do one of these because I took my nails off and we're having a nail conundrum. So I'm gonna hide my nails. Anyways, last night I was on Team Wendy. Can you believe it?
I mean, Wendy has been right a lot this season. She's just
and
not
she has. Okay, Wendy has turned the page for me. I like Wendy. I'm not mad. I have a different understanding of Wendy, and I think that's really what it is.
Yes, and we have an episode about that too. So go watch that next.
So last night, of course, they always want to mend fences. Shout out to the Housewives of Atlanta. So they, I think it was Karen that asked at one of the sit down dinners, if where Ashley and Dehjai were at this point. Like, can they mend fences? Are they done forever? Like, what's the situation? And so they had a back and forth, but it was a pleasant back and forth. The thing that I did write down was that what I appreciate about Ashley these days is that she owns her shit. She might be messy as all can be, and as we have said before, she can be very vile. But in the latter seasons since she's been with Child, she has owned her shit. What? Okay. She did yesterday. So Candace basically was like, I feel like the place that you're coming from and the reason why you feel like it's necessary to bring all these like witnesses that my husband is allegedly doing X, Y, and Z is from your own situations and you being in a like emotionally unstable and like, vile, toxic relationship. And so that's why you feel like you need to have all these receipts.
Yeah.
For me, someone who's happy and my marriage is good and so on and so forth, like I don't need all of that. And so to Candace's point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not mad. You're right. It might be a little bit of that, but Ashley also was just kind of like, you know what? You're right. It might be a little bit of that. And I can say that, like, yes, I want the receipts. I want to hear from X, Y, and Z, like what all was said, who said what to whom, as to like how we got here. You want to bring me something and bring me the evidence. So they mended fences and they decided they was going to be okay and kumbaya. And because Wendy chimed in at the end and was just like, look, when all three of us are together, we have a really fucking good time. So I don't understand like why we can't just leave the drama of the past in the past and move forward. Like, can that be the thing that we do? And I was like, come on, Wendy. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Make it make sense, girl.
I like it. Good for her. I'm glad you cleared that up.
I can see, like, so I think I don't remember who I said this about before, but I could see Candace and Ashley being like the Atlanta girls, Kim and Nene, in terms of like if they just got along regularly with no beef, they could be like chill and funny. Because like all the side clips that they've showed us this season with the girls out having a good time, they having a good time. So I don't like we never get to see that though. Like that's my issue. We never get to see them just having a good time with each other.
I agree. They have the potential to be the most fun to me and just mixy and out there. So yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Running down the list. The question that I forgot, I was going to put this on Instagram today, but like, who thinks that the Dixons are actually going to tie the knot this time?
They're not. They're not. And I was so angry, and I think I said this last week, but I was so irritated watching them suits. That suit try on got on my nerves so bad because I was like, those boys are teenagers. If you don't get married in 3 months, those suits are not going to fit. So you could have just held that until you had all your things in order, and you don't, and you're not gonna. So. Well,
yeah. So she said that Robin said at that same dinner that they are going to get married the day after her brother-in-law gets married. They're not telling anyone because the wedding itself is supposed to take place where it's just supposed to be the two of them and the kids.
Yeah.
So they're going to do like a justice of the peace type situation, I guess, on the beach and go ahead and make it official and then go on about their lives. I don't know that I don't really have any feelings about the Dixons as it relates to them getting married or not getting married. I feel like at this point, girl, what's the point? Your name is still Dixon.
I don't have any feelings about, I don't have any strong feelings about whether they get married or not. If they do, that's their business. I really don't even care. Like they've been presenting on this show as long as it's been on TV as if they are still together. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why I should care. that they're going to have a ceremony with or without the children, with or without cameras. I just don't know why I should care, and I don't. Period.
Well, all right. The next on my list at this same dinner, all these notes come from this damn dinner. I think it's like the last dinner of this last night's episode.
Ooh.
We started with Karen, taking it back to Karen. Mm-hmm. Basically, for me, it's just like Karen has said on several occasions that she don't fool with Charisse, and I don't understand why the ladies feel a need to keep bringing this up and trying to drag it out. In the argument that they were having, like the Karen's mom's passing aside, I was of understanding with Charisse, like, you know, what is the issue? Like, why do we have beef? Mm-hmm. And Karen's just kind of like, I don't like you. Like, we don't fool with each other, and that's what it is. And so my thing is like,
that's the answer. Like, the answer is just, I don't like you. And like, there's something to be said for someone who could just be like, I just don't care for you. We don't have to. And I that does not bother me. That does not bother me.
No, I'm not mad at Charisse, or excuse me, I'm not mad at Karen. We're just gonna be like, girl, I mean, I don't fool with her. Yeah. Well, what she said was she don't F with her. I'm trying to stop cursing so much.
But yeah, and I feel like that though across the board in real life, most of my friends would attest to that. Like, bad vibes over there. Not a fan. And you don't have to do anything to me. I don't even have to know you. But if I go in your presence, or if I am just, if something does not sit right in my spirit, it's going to be a no for me, dog. And it's probably nothing that you can do to change it. And that's okay.
And usually I'm right. Like, that's okay, because Karen has been said, and she was saying several times, both confessional and with the girls, we can just exist. I am good to be cordial, and we can do things together. So like, if they decide to bring her back, she didn't say that part, but like what I'm taking from that is if they decide to bring her back onto the show and we have to do all these like ensemble cast things, fine, so be it. I'll speak. Yeah. Hey girl, how you doing?
Everybody does not have to be besties. No. And honestly, I think we've talked about this before. I don't remember where, but yeah, sometimes you can just go have a good time with somebody and not want to talk to them outside of that. Like, you know, I think we talked about it, talking about friend groups or something. I don't remember, but yeah, like you can have friends that you just hang out with and you don't really share anything deep with them, or you don't do anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just hang out and that's that on that. Like, y'all have a good time and that's that on that. And I feel like they can probably get to that place, and I feel like that's as far as it needs to go, honestly.
I think Karen is always going to separate herself from Charisse. She did say in the confessionals that Karen said in the confessionals that she feels like the girls are like, you know, bowing down to Charisse because Charisse has dirt on them. And Charisse alleged to having had dirt on Karen, and then she exposed it, alleged dirt that Karen supposedly went to some sort of rehab for, like, I guess alcoholism or something like that.
Okay.
So in the coming episodes, Robin is then piggybacking off of that. That was the commercial last night. So she's piggybacking off of that to talk about blue eyes. Remember how they talked about her seeing blue eyes? This was fucking seasons ago at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stop cursing. The alcohol is kicking in.
Yeah. So the blue eye thing is, I don't know why that hits me different than talking about someone having addiction issues, but something about the exposing an addiction is really annoying to me and very vile and intrusive, in my opinion.
But so, like, here's my thing is, like, if she really had addiction issues, we would have heard about that by now. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'm speaking from the sense of, like, so when they did, was it Monique's house a couple of years ago, and they were down there taking shots of Fireball, and they was like, who knew the Karen was so much fun, and she's so wild, blah, blah, and talking all this stuff. Like, it would have came out at all of the, like, it would have came out just like they talked about Darby, him and touching people's booties and carrying on and saying inappropriate things as the ladies deemed it. So, like, if she really was this alcoholic and she had issues and she had to go to rehab and all its other foolishness, and that's what would have happened.
I guess what I'm saying is that And maybe the issue, I mean, I don't know what they said, if they specifically said alcoholism on the show.
They did not say. They just, well, Charisse did not say. She just simply was like that the girl went off to damn rehab. And I'm just like, okay, girl.
But what I'm saying is Karen,
what
is she? Almost 60 years old?
Yeah.
And this show has been on for what, 10 years, maybe tops. She lived a lot of life before she got to our TVs, is what I'm saying. So it's possible, but something about that just feels like extra interesting and annoying.
Because it's just like, it's the same thing with them talking about how she was out with somebody with blue eyes. We still, they never say who this man is, even though the commercial shows Robin putting up a phone with somebody's photo on it. We can't see it in the commercial. I doubt very seriously that we're going to see it next week. So like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. Y'all called that before when they was talking about Karen and her Black Bill Gates tax issues. That was a rumor then.
Yeah.
So like, girls, go away. Like,
I just think it's annoying. Like, whether it's true or not, I think it's kind of gross and invasive to talk about something that somebody has been, gotten over.
Allegedly, because I don't believe that Karen has had some sort of addiction issue.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to me whether she did or not. I just don't like that allegation, period. That's what I'm saying.
Agreed. But so what I'll say, as y'all know, we team Karen on these streets. But Karen does not strike me as the type of person that's not going to take that storyline and use it to her benefit. Because she's the grand dame after all. You know what I'm saying? So like that would be like a trope, like, hey, I did X, Y, and Z back in my heyday and I went through so and so, and then this is my cause now. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just stupid. Like, come on now.
Yeah. All right. What else you got on Housewives of Potomac?
So the last few things, so there's a point where Mia and Wendy are going back and forth. This is the same dinner. The two of them are going back and forth, and Mia just started making up shit out of nowhere. And I'm like, which Mia does, as we know. This is her thing. This is what she does. But like, sis, it made no sense. Like none. Like she turned the conversation because Wendy was like, you assaulted me by throwing a drink on me because Wendy is the lawyer, right? Granted, she didn't practice, but she went to school for the shit, so she knows her shit, right?
No, she is not a lawyer. No, ma'am, she's not. She didn't practice. She didn't finish. She didn't go study for a bar. I take that seriously. No, ma'am. She flunked out of law school. She said that herself.
I stand corrected. My bad, y'all.
Filled out. No, ma'am. I take that seriously now. It means a thing to be a lawyer. No, ma'am.
I'm over here like, oops.
No. Her husband
she has the education in the law. Can I say that?
Possibly. She failed. She failed out. So
okay, all right.
She has the beginnings of a legal education. Yes, you can say that.
Okay. Because I am searching for the words. Okay.
She has some legal know-how, and she has her husband's a lawyer, so she has some
understanding. Know-how. Can I say that?
Yep, understanding.
Okay. So basically, Wendy is like, "Girl, you assaulted me." So at some point, the girls, Mia and her homegirl was fighting, and
was dumb.
There was something that was said by Dehjai where it was like, what did she say? She said something in reference to, it's interesting how, which is always like a trigger. It's interesting how you all can accept that these conversations don't need to be had in front of the group. But when it came to whatever situation that was had, now we're going to do this. So, it was a lead-in for Wendy. So Wendy basically was like, you assaulted me by throwing that drink on me, and then also putting your hands on me. She did. And so you can apologize to the group because I think, I don't know, somebody, whatever, watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about because the alcohol said it and I don't remember.
Got it.
So yeah, basically they was going back and forth. It was a damn tennis match with words, and I dubbed Wendy the wordsmith because at some point Mia could not handle the wordsmith. Basically, she just started fucking making shit up, and it was like,
she's not that bright. Like,
I mean, I don't. But here's my thing. I don't feel like Wendy. Not Wendy. I don't feel like Mia is stupid. I didn't
say she was stupid. I just don't think she's a match for a Wendy. I think you got to have a worthy opponent for a Wendy.
Touche.
And so I'm not saying just because she didn't pass or she didn't finish law school or whatever. Law school was hell, so I don't recommend that to anybody. So, but she still has a PhD. She's still a professor. She still has multiple degrees. She's doing her thing. She is doing her thing. And she is a smart
Wendy
woman.
Is what her name is from henceforward.
Huh?
I said Wordsmith Wendy is what her name is from henceforward.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, this woman, she has her things together. And so, yeah, Mia don't stand a chance for that. She should go play with somebody who is at her IQ level.
Agreed. This is the last thing that I'll say. When you finally do come across it, basically, Mia was just trying to turn the conversation because she couldn't handle what was being said out of Wendy's mouth.
I can see that.
Couldn't hang with it.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I posted up on Instagram is like, what the hell's going on with Robin? Like, the previous seasons, Robin has just been the boring bestie sidekick, which we was cool with, right? Mm-hmm. We might have made some jokes and like said X, Y, and Z about her, but like she was chill. Robin was always the chill friend.
She was the breather on the show.
These last two seasons, it's a lot. It's really a lot.
I think she's coming in too hot though. She hasn't found the balance. I feel like Giselle, I always hold my house, well, on this franchise, I hold up everybody up to a standard of either a Karen or a Giselle. So I feel like Giselle has figured out how to be messy and how to get the party going, but also like step away enough to let the party go on without her. So she's not always looking like she is the mess. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. It's a fine line. And Robin has not mastered the fine line.
Not at all. So I almost feel like this reality recap has been like the damn RHOP show. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, it has been for the most part. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Have you been watching Ready to Love?
I have. I'm unimpressed this season. The men are also. So I have a theory about what they're doing and what they did the last season as well. So I think they're filming 2 shows at the same time. So I'm noticing, because I know the city, that a lot of the locations in this season are in Fort Lauderdale, and a lot of the stuff in from last season was in like Miami and Doral. So I think they're doing 2 Miami seasons, but it's like Miami, South Florida, North and South. So that's what it seems like to me. So I don't know. I don't know.
I did notice one of the second episode that aired, one of the restaurants that they showed, you took me there. And I was like, I know that place.
Oh.
I was like, oh, we went there.
Yeah. So, and I think this is the same thing they did when they called the last round, they did DC and Potomac, but they couldn't call this one Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Like, it seemed like that's what they're doing, is getting a bang for their buck and doing 2 close cities, but trying to keep them separate to a certain extent.
I don't disagree with you. I really thought that Corvea was going home because, like, she's doing good with some of the men folk, but like that, but here's the thing. I understand where she's coming from. You just ain't got to say it.
Yeah. And also the woman that they sent home, she just seemed kind of vacant. Like, she just wasn't really into it. And
I don't think that she wasn't really into it. I just think that sis was weird. Like, like natural weird. Just, you're not meant to be on TV. You ain't got that type of personality.
I agree. I would agree with you on that.
You know what I'm saying? And when I say weird, I mean like everybody has their own like quirks. Like, not saying that she's legitimately weird. I don't know that. I don't feel like she's weird. I just think that she's just not somebody that needs to be on TV. Shit, being on TV is a different experience.
Yeah.
Which is why
and then the ringers.
No, it's a no for me.
Yeah. And then the ringers that they brought in this season. So they brought in 2 new men.
Child Febreze and the other one.
So I felt like the 2 women that they brought in were like beautiful, you know.
Everybody on the cast is beautiful, women wise. The men,
very bare minimum, the women were beautiful. One of the personalities is a bit much for me, but again, there's somebody for everybody. So her personality is very, very, very big. But the men they brought on, I was like, those are the two that's supposed to be mixing everything up. They can go. Both of them.
Febreze looked like he about 60 years old.
A solid 60. He is giving.
That's so disrespectful, but y'all know what I'm saying.
He is giving big, like, sugar daddy vibes. Like, he's looking for young women. Young women.
Yeah, because all he want to do is smack bellies.
Not in people in their 30s and 40s. Like, people maybe in their late 20s and early 30s, maybe.
He is a smooth 55.
He's a solid 55. And then he has this whole, like, French Parisian thing, which I get, but it's just...
It's giving creepy.
It's giving creepy old guy. Maybe that's a story for another day, but he reminded me of someone, like, when I first moved to South Florida, somebody who I was, you know, naive enough to think was a friend, but actually was just trying to get me to, you know.
Girl, I mean, we all got them stories.
Well, I mean, I was, you know, young and impressionable, I guess, somewhat. And
you
so,
were thinking that, you know, oh, he's such a nice person.
He's such a nice guy. Yeah, like, he's just a nice person. And everybody's like, no. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. And then until it wasn't. And I was just like, whoa, no. And then I never talked to him again, which was fine. Because he was creepy and old, and he reminded me of Febreze, or whatever his name is.
Girl, his name is Febreze from henceforth.
Reminded me of that. So that's what I'm saying. He needs like a mid to late 20s, possibly pushing early 30s, but very early 30s, so he can go play those games with somebody else.
Child, he needs a bunny or a city girl.
One or the other. I'm saying the caliber of women that they have on Ready to Love is not what
it ain't it.
What he needs
whatsoever. So there's this person. There's this man on this cast.
The one with the box. The one with the salt and pepper box haircut.
Nope.
Okay.
So there's this gentleman on this cast that gives me oh boy. This is so bad. Okay. Oh God, he reminds me of husband.
Oh dear. All right. Okay.
And I'm like, but I mean, like a bad version. This is not a good version, you know. I'm not finna tell nobody who husband is, but if you know me, you know this.
Blessed assurance.
So, but like, my man has like this, like, he got like a situation in the front.
When I tell you, I know who you're talking about, and that hair wears me out, because what is it doing?
So like, it's the physique and like the haircut, but husband does not have this. Okay, like,
I just do not understand what the hair is giving. It's like a pony. He has, sometimes he'll put a little ponytail up here. He got the one little tendril down the front. Then the back is like.
Child, let me tell you something. I watched that and I said, oh my God, he look like he don't look like him, but he gives me like a reminiscence of like husband. And I'm like, husband gonna have to cut he gonna have to fade that shit in the back. He can't have that haircut no more.
It's bad. It's so bad. Oh, I hate it so much. Now, the guy with the black and white or the salt and pepper box, he is aggravating to me.
Child, listen, so like, this is the inappropriate part of the show. He is like, I was a fine nigga in the early 2000s, and that's the shit I'm riding on until the end of time. Like,
yes, it very much that. So I'm over him, sir. For this group of people, I don't like anybody. I don't like any of these men at all. No, immediately no. So We'll see. Hopefully somebody will grow on me. And so hopefully, more importantly, someone will grow on the women so that they can get some quality matches out of this situation.
Some of them look like growths in general.
It's not great. I really don't. Yeah.
It's a no. The women are beautiful. The men are like what happened?
It's not great.
You in Miami.
It's not great.
I don't understand.
So
I would rather have folks on there that look, that are beautiful for TV purposes, than to just have like any old body. And not saying that everybody is like ugly, but it's just kind of like, this is a damn dating show. Like, you got to have like, beautiful people. That's part of the draw for the TV show. Like, what's happening?
Like, I agree more. Over it. Don't like it. I don't like this cast. They're not giving. The men especially are not giving. What else?
Yeah. I ain't got nothing else for Ready to Love, folks. We just gonna see what happens. What do you want to talk about next?
Love and Marriage Huntsville. Did you watch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like, okay. I have been saying this since like, I don't know when, but Mel needs to just go ahead into the sunset and collect her EP credits and be done.
And you know what was funny? The whole speech that Carlos gave to Martell, I felt he could turn around and give the same speech to Mel. Not because she did anything bad, but because she is becoming very just jaded and like abrasive in a way that I think it's because he hurt her. Like he messed her up. Like he really damaged her, and she's just trying to be like, no, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And I just felt like based on her behavior and how she has just attacked everyone and kind of just not been friendly to the other women on the show, and even her interaction with Kimmy, who has been like kind of her only friend, it just was like ill. And I felt like it's probably because of Martell. So I felt like everything that Carlos said could have applied equally to Mel, to me anyway.
I agree. I feel like what I recognized in that moment that they shared on the stage was just kind of like Carlos he's more of like a connection maybe to Martell. And he sees like his humanity or whatever the case, like, because he talks to, like, you sent me, so offline, Can sent me the Carlos and Dustin Ross like recap of the final reunion episode, which was really good. Shout out to Dustin. I love him. He had me cracking up. But yeah, like he just seems to have more of a relationship where he could say that and Martell would receive it. And I think that's why that happened. Because he could tell Melody all of that, but she ain't finna receive that.
Right. And I think also with Mel, I think no one would say she's not justified in feeling how she feels. I think everybody across the board agrees that she was wronged. And so in that situation, it's hard to give that kind of critique to the person who was wronged. It's very easy to give it to the person who did the wronging. Like, you messed up, and because you messed up, this is why you're like this, and you need to get yourself together. But I also think, like I said before, that she needs to get herself together too, because she's clearly just lashing out all over the place. And even in her interactions with Martell, granted, he deserves it to some extent, but with their children, even with the kids and stuff, and Martell probably was exaggerating by saying the kids be staying with 20 different people. I don't think she's that kind of mother, but I understand his trepidation with his kids being all over the place. I wouldn't want my kids being all over the place either. And so just simple stuff of like, hey, would you just give me the first option? I understand if you're not in Huntsville, if you're in Atlanta, then you do what you have to do. But if you're in Huntsville and you need to leave town, just give me the first, like, give me a call. I feel like that's one of those things that in a good co-parenting relationship, that would happen. And she just absolutely refuses to do anything.
I think too, a lot of that is like prior to them, the demise of their relationship, it was always, I'm gonna cower to Martell's will.
Right.
And I think that's where that comes from. Like, we're not married anymore. I'm not doing what you say or what you want me to do.
100%. This is for her. It feels like it's a power grab. Everything is about power. And she has to maintain the upper hand with Martell because, like we said before, or I said before, he's one of those people you give him an inch and they take a mile. So I understand her wanting to hold back, but I feel like she is just so like hell bent on just not giving anything as it relates to him, and I think that may turn out to be a mistake. Because it's keeping their relationship, their co-parenting relationship, very adversarial, and I don't think that it has to be that.
Right. I agree with you on that. What I want for them is similar to the want that Carlos expressed, which just is like accepting what has happened and accepting yourselves.
Yeah.
And the connection that you all have to one another.
Yeah.
And like saying like, you know, we're no longer together, but I miss this.
Yeah.
Which is the constant.
And the family, as Carlos said, that they are a family. They have kids together. Yeah. They were in a long marriage, 13 years, I think, right? 13, something like that.
And like she said, she stayed pregnant. So it's just like, like
you guys are family to some extent, and that's probably never going to change. Like, you might not like each other, but even to the point of, you know, the kids growing up, the graduations, you're still going to be there. You're still going to be co-grandparents should the children have their own children. So you're still going to be in each other's lives pretty much forever. So it's like, I don't know. So I get, like I said, I get where Mel is coming from, but I just think it's a lot. And she's clearly, and she said it too. She said she didn't see her life going this way. You know, she was having all these kids. She didn't think she wouldn't be married to the person who she was having all these kids for. So, you know, I think, obviously I'm nobody's therapist or anything like that, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes she could lean more into the vulnerable side instead of just going straight to the anger and, you know, whatever.
But I think there's something to be said to the fact that it's a quick switch to the anger and the strong Black woman trope.
100%.
I feel like and like, to get off of the Holtz, she and Kimmy are holding up this like strong Black women trope to their detriment. You know what I'm saying? Like, transitioning over to Kimmy, like you know, while what Carlos said was like a glowing, you know, like remark about her experience and her showing up and her still doing X, Y, and Z. And also when him and Dustin had the conversation, you know, like on Carlos's podcast, like what I received in that was like, yo, this woman is struggling and she is going through this really hard time and experience, but she can't even be present for her own experience because she got to be strong for everybody around her, and that shit is not fair.
I don't know if I got that.
I mean, I received that in the sense of like, you know, because the thing with being a Black woman of a certain age, like our younger counterparts, you know, 29 and down, may not necessarily feel this way, you know what I'm saying? But like, we tend to, and well, I'll speak for myself and my family members, like tend to go through tragic, horrific, horrendous experiences. But at the same token, like while all of that shit is happening, you're still like, you know, but the show must go on, but I have to work and I have to take care of this and I have responsibilities and so on and so forth. But it just does not seem as though with those that I've witnessed within my own lineage have had the wherewithal to just kind of sit down and be in acceptance of what the fuck is happening and then be in the experience. Like, you're going through something horrific, but you're so busy doing all this other stuff that you have no time to feel anything, which was evident to me by she's sitting there talking about her experience on the stage and like all the things that are going on, and she starts to get choked up and emotional about it. And understandably, like those things could still happen if she was present and aware. But it seemed to me that that was not the case. That I always have to be on. I recognized it in the sense that that is who I am. That's how I show up in the world, or at least how I have shown up prior to 2022. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense why you had a feeling about it. I didn't feel it that way. I didn't experience it that way. I felt like, especially with her, throughout this season, as she's been talking about this, she's talked about how Maurice has been there with her and shown up for her in a lot of different ways. And yes, she's going to want to be strong for her son. He's still in his like early 20s, I think, or maybe mid 20s. So she wants to be there for him. And it seemed to me as though she was doing this not to be like a strong Black woman or whatever, but just so she could have something to do. So she wasn't at home feeling sorry for herself. That's what I got. Like, I'm going to keep going, not because I have to, but because, and she said that she was like, I just didn't want to be at home feeling sorry for myself. And I felt like I could have gotten into a dark place with going through this, and so I just did something else instead. And I wanted to share my story also to help other people, so this felt like the right thing for me to do.
I hear that, Ken. I hear you, and I can see how that could be received, but as someone who shows up like that, that is some smoke and mirrors bullshit. It is like,
I don't think I agree with
have
that.
This horrible thing that's happening and I'm aware of it, but I'm going to go in the direction of all this other stuff. I'm going to say all the things that make sense, right? Like, I'm going to say all the things like, I want to show up for this person and that person is showing up, like say all the things that are right, because you protect the people that you love. And that is what I see when she was speaking about her experience. Now, that may not be what the case is, like long term, but in terms of like how she spoke about, everybody showing up and people calling and checking and being so appreciative, that it just, what I hear is like, I don't know, I just see through that. It very much gives me like, I'm still wearing a trope and showing up in this way because this is how I need to show up for them. I have to put on this show for them. Yes, these things, I do believe these things, but at the same token, this is what I got to do to show up for them. And I don't know. I just don't see Kimmy showing up in this stuff. Because when she really started, like when she was crying and talking about like what was happening for her, I saw her in that. But like when she was talking about the other people and what everybody else was doing, it's a separation. And I don't know, I'll say it again. I see it because that is a behavior that I have.
Okay. I'll just say this. I don't profess to know anything else that's going on in her life. I'm just taking her at her word. I
don't either.
And what she said to me made a lot of sense as somebody who, has, in my experience, struggled with deep, dark things. And sometimes the answer is just to keep going and keep on fighting and keep on living. And I received it very much as that. So it could just be a perspective thing. And what she said made sense to me. So I took her at her word. That's how I felt about it. Okay. So what else? I thought Stormy continued to be a breath of fresh air. What else? The Whitlows were there.
I thought they was really not going to be a part of this show.
I had hoped not, and I really hope they aren't. Tiffany's having a baby. Congratulations to her, but I don't find them interesting whatsoever, and I'm happy to move on.
But what Carlos said offline in the review with Dustin. Was just kind of like, it made a lot of sense, like when you don't know where to place somebody in terms of like reality TV, like if they're going to be gold or not. Like it made a lot of sense as to why he chose her, but she just panned out to be more boring than anything else. She just gets to be like a friend of the show. Like maybe swap her positioning with Stormy.
I like Stormy.
In the sense that like Stormy is level-headed, but she also has like the business mind in terms of like, and tell her story in terms of like how you got here. Like They
and she's
they
got a little
live on
fire
an
to
estate.
her. She's a little spicy a little bit, but
Yeah.
she's also very, level for the most part. And her husband seems to be a lovely man who supports her. And so, I think that they're an interesting couple, and I'd like to see more of them. But I don't want to see Destiny and her boyfriend don't care. And Tiffany and Lewis absolutely can go, and I hope that they do.
So I don't dislike Destiny. I think, like I said previously when we talked about this last week, like I said before, she was under like a contractual obligation. She couldn't say anything about what was going on with her divorce, but it's like she's just still trying to find her footing.
Yeah.
And so to Carlos's point, if you're not going to really give us anything, then you just going to get off the show. But I think her never having been famous in any sort of way, like she does remind me of Candy, but Candy was famous before she came on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think Destiny is not interesting.
Okay.
I don't think she's interesting. The storyline with her store hasn't really gone any place. And honestly, obviously that's a storyline, but it's also her business, and it's obviously not thriving right now, or hadn't been thriving, because she just did a grand reopening to try to drive some business to the store.
I mean, but
And she was mad.
the daggone pandemic hit, which throwed
No, and I'm
everything
not
off.
saying that. No, I'm not taking anything away from her in terms of like, yes, things happen to her, but she's not supplementing her storyline in any way, shape, form, or fashion. She's not giving us absolutely anything to work with, and she does not have other friendships. Mel was her friendship, and even then, she at best was a friend of to me. I don't get her, and also she has that very combative energy too, where everything she gets mad first and then wants to talk about it later, and I don't like watching her. I don't enjoy it.
So I would agree with you that instead of responding, especially with Kimmy, instead of responding aggressively, it's just kind of like receive what's being said and then respond. Like, don't feel like you're being attacked, because you're not, because you and Kimmy ain't got no beef. But Kimmy's gonna give it to you straight, and so it's just kind of like receive it and then tell your side of it. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't always have to be like some sort of deflection, or like they didn't film X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know,
even with
like
her, even what they filmed with the grand reopening or whatever, what really turned me off about Destiny was the grand reopening, and how she went and had a whole tantrum in a corner like a 3-year-old, instead of just telling them people to get out of her establishment. She could have just told them, thank you for coming and supporting me. I really appreciate if you leave. I don't feel comfortable with you being here. Instead, she sat over there, and that would have been the moment, honestly, because everybody would have been like, oh, Destiny came to show up and came for a show. She came to do something. She is at least escorting somebody out, or having them escorted out. Instead, she sat over there like this.
Indeed.
And had an entire tantrum. And I was just like, this lady does not need to be on reality TV, period. She's not interesting.
I mean, but that also speaks to like, like people still evolving and getting their emotional intelligence in order.
No, I don't want to see that. No, I don't find it interesting. And we already have a bunch of people who are evolving emotionally in Melody and Martell. We don't need nobody else with an emotional evolution.
Child, ain't nobody emotionally evolving in the Holtz. I'm not. I mean, I might give Martell a little bit of that, like a inch.
Listen,
but I don't know about Melody. She is not emotionally evolving. Melody is stonewalling.
But this is what I'm saying. We already have to deal with this behavior with them, and watching them go sniping and being emotionally immature. Why do I want to watch Destiny have a tantrum and she's bringing absolutely nothing else to the table? At least they're bringing something interesting to the table sometimes. This lady ain't brought nothing to the table, and we still got to watch her have tantrums for what? For what? It's not fun.
You just said miss me with that.
It's not fun. Not interested.
Well,
no thanks.
So much for that.
I think that was it for Love and Marriage Huntsville. I appreciated Carlos at the end when he talked about his mom and how, people need to go to the doctor. Black people, please go to the doctor.
Also, I learned something too, like about doing the ultrasound in addition to the mammogram. Nobody has ever said that, which is crazy. Like we already know that our medical system is flawed as it relates to Black women in healthcare, but like, dang, yo, I never even heard of that. And as someone who has lost a family member, a close family member to breast cancer, like that, I needed to hear that. So I'm grateful that she is sharing her story.
Yeah.
But what I want is for her to still be seen in her experience, like be seen by herself, not necessarily just all of us.
Got it. All right. Want to say two quick things. Well, one quick thing about Love Without Borders. Girlene, girl, please save it. Please go get back in therapy, ma'am, because too much.
I missed it. I didn't watch.
Okay. So Girlene calls the matchmaker and just says, listen, I'm over this. My mental health is suffering. I'd like to go home. Matchmaker flies over to see about Girlene and is like, look, and her partner, Shreyas, was kind of like, you know, she's not happy. And so, and they talk about some issues that they had and some nonsense, really. And so the matchmaker is like, okay, girl, I'm not in the business of keeping people here against their will or, you know, anything. And you said your mental health is suffering. Your mental health is more important than this dumb show or this experience. So you should go home. And she was like, no, it was compatibility. It wasn't about my mental. It was my mental health was suffering because of compatibility, because we weren't compatible. And the matchmaker was like, you said it was your mental health. And of course, Bravo being Bravo ran back the tape and was like, where she was in the confessional saying my mental health is suffering and we're not compatible. And it's like, girl, you just want to be right and you want to argue, which is what she did with Shreyas the entire time she was in Dubai. Girl, save it. You need to go home and go back to therapy because you missed some spots, girl. You missed some spots.
Not you missed some spots. What?
So that's all I got on that, honestly.
Well, all right. So thank you if you stayed to the end of this here show and you have watched all the way through. Thank you for watching. Make sure you are liking, commenting, and subscribing and checking out blackandcurious.com. And we will see you all next week with the reality recap. Hopefully, I will not be so tipsy at the beginning of the show.
Yay. All right. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.